from Hamilton, home of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, the CFL's QEW rivals renew hostilities before a rabid sellout crowd here at Ivor Wynne Stadium. The atmosphere is electric. The most intense game on the Argos schedule. And on the other side, it'll be Greg Marshall, the 2004 Coach of the Year, but yet to post a victory over the arch rivals, and says just once he'd like not to see pinball's wide winning smile at the end of a meeting against Toronto. Mutual respect and a healthy dislike for each other, all hallmarks of this game.
Toronto Argonauts at 6-3, Hamilton at 1-8, but you can put the records aside on Labor Day.
Noel Prefontaine has kick-started things. And this is Sidney Hagebrook, a newcomer to the Tiger-Cat lineup, bringing it out across the 30-yard line. And Danny McManus will start. Let's take a look at the starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wendy's.
Two legends, Danny McManus for the Hamilton Tiger-Cats and Damon Allen, Canadian football's all-time leading passer for the Toronto Argonauts. Together they have passed for over 100 kilometers. 100,000 kilometers, I should say.
Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. The starting quarterbacks and the starting tailback for the Tiger-Cats, the man who set records on Labor Day a year ago, Troy Davis. 32 carries, 233 yards. On Labor Day a year ago, when, as Dave Randorf mentioned, they played to a 30-30 standstill.
The Hamilton Tiger-Cats will have to see a lot of Troy Davis this evening.
2nd and 3, Davis again. And Davis met as he crossed the 40. He will be close to the first down. Davis running against a defense without Mike O'Shea, but let's set the Tiger-Cat offense for you.
There is the backfield. Troy Davis at tailback. We just talked about him and the great Labor Day he had a year ago. Receiving corps that had a big game last week versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. First win for the Hamilton Ticats. DJ Flick and Craig East over 100 yards. And Tim Baker at center, along with Wayne Smith and Dan Comiskey at the guards in the interior of that offensive line.
Measurement, and it will be 3rd down as Davis comes up a little short. The starting lineups are brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast.
Harvey Jones in the quarterback.
Greg Marshall's had a little heartburn this year, but feeling better after the first win against the Blue Bombers to snap an 8-game losing streak. McManus goes to the sidelines on these short 3rd down plays, and we saw Kahari Jones regularly inserted into the lineup last week against Winnipeg.
Keeps Danny McManus out of the middle of that pile.
Radlin and Davis the setbacks. And Jones himself, not much of a surge. Bonner tossing him back. And it will depend on the forward progress spotted by referee Andre Prue.
Well, and they may have to measure this, and anytime they do, especially when you're in your own end of the field, it's very difficult on Greg Marshall. And some tense moments right now.
To see if your copy has been signed by our Ticats personality. If you think you've won, head down to Southside Guest Services. Claim your prize.
They get it by the nose of the football. We're proud to be here for the 56th annual Labor Day Classic. Ticats have won 26, 9 losses, 1 tie against the arch rivals. Kenny Wheaton with the stick on Craig East.
Toronto Argonauts run a 34 defense. That's 3 down linemen, and between Cantor, Jonathan Brown, and Eric England, 9 of their 18 sacks from those 3 right there. Then the linebacking core. Now Michael O'Shea out of the lineup. The heart and soul of this Toronto defense will not play today. Ray Marius takes his spot. Alonzo Steinauer, the quarterback of that secondary.
Greg Marshall, coach, Ray Marius at McMaster. Thinks highly of him, but says we're going to go after him. Here's McManus. Noah Cantor got to McManus. And it's ruled an incompletion as the St. Mary's product gets to the quarterback and forces the incompletion.
Maybe the most underrated defensive line in Canadian football. Noah Cantor is the consistent factor in that defensive line, always with the big push, and he just works off of Tim Baker, slides over, and has to be a little careful with that arm up around the head of Danny McManus, but no penalty.
Jamie Borum checks in. Chuck Tack punted last week, and a 16-yarder at a critical time in the fourth quarter ended his stay in Hamilton. Borum back in, line drive punt, and that's Arlen Bruce with it. Up across the 25, and Bruce steps out at the 27-yard line. One of my favorite pinball stories. He was hurt in 91, so he arrived at Ivor Wynne in civvies, but he made a serious mistake. A gold suit, black shirt. That wasn't a good idea when you come to Ticat Town.
Well, he's decked out in double blue right now.
Danny McManus goes to work. The hitch screen to Mal Peterson. Dropped the football. And the Argos signal they're on it. There's a discussion, but it is Toronto football. And Antonius Bonner comes up with it.
First sudden change of the football game, first turnover of the football game, and it's put the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a bind here at home. Kamal Peterson, who somehow throughout his career makes the tough catch, makes the tough play, and then plays when it looks like he should either just make an easy catch or go down. The ball comes out of his hands, and he continues to battle with the handle.
Chuck Winters with the contact that forced the ball loose. And Toronto with the first break in this opening quarter. Argos with the football at the Tiger Cat 33. Four receivers to the wide side. And Allen will roll to the right. Hit as he delivers. And the pass sailing high, incomplete. Intended for Michael Palmer as Allen got punished.
Berenicia was the secondary containment was Tim Cheapwood. That was taken away by Robert Baker. That's why Damon Allen got outside, but you see big 3-9 there. Now both teams have to be careful. That's a couple of times now they've got that hit on the quarterback and got a little high. So far the refs are letting them play.
2nd and 10. Receivers, Baker offside, so the flags fly. Chris Martin couldn't get to Allen, and now he dumps it off as the Tiger Cats converged, and Allen pays the price again.
Yeah, and this time right in the middle of that was Rob Hitchcock, the veteran of not only this game, but this rivalry. 5 of Rob Hitchcock's career interceptions against the Toronto Argonauts, 3 on Labor Day.
And it is his 10th Labor Day. First at the linebacker spot. A 10-year safety here in Hamilton.
Toronto, penalties decline, 3rd down.
They decline the penalty, and so the field goal unit will come on. And Prefontaine will attempt from 40 yards out. He's 80% on the season. And his only misses have come from 44, 46, and 60.
But that stop by the Hamilton defense really, even if Prefontaine nails his field goal, should give them a little bit of a lift after the turnover.
Good sign for the Tiger Cats, who won last week despite giving up 39. And Prefontaine misses. Hugh Smith in the end zone, and he'll put a knee down. So the Argos break the ice, but it's just one after the fumble. And the penalty was to Kojo Adu. It means a first down at the 1. Danny McManus looks downfield, wanted Mike Morielli. but the pass sails incomplete.
It's a huge field position swing, and last week versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Tad Cornegay came out of the end zone on a return, then went back in, gave up a safety, and Hamilton gave up 9 points in about 20 seconds before the half. Again, a special teams error. This puts Danny McManus in a huge hole, now 2nd and 10 against the defense that loves to play 2nd and 10.
Not only did they give up the safety, Winnipeg took the ball at the 35 on the very next play.
Yeah.
Milt Stiegel, 75 yards for the score. 2nd and 10 from the 1, and McManus in his end zone, and Bo Lewis knocks it down, and McManus fortunate that wasn't picked off.
Incomplete.
3-man rush with Fritz. Bo Lewis in coverage. You can see Kevin Ivan right in the middle of your screen. Now they're just trying to close those windows. Danny McManus actually had a little bit more time, but Bo Lewis had the best chance at that football. And even as it stands now, it looks like Jamie Borum, where he's standing right now, is going to have to give up the safety and the 2 points here. Had Hugh Smith taken that football into the end zone, given up a single, he may not have had to.
And he immediately puts down a knee. And the Argos lead is now 3-0 with just over a minute remaining in a defensive-dominated first quarter. And here's Livingston from his goal line. And Livingston slowed up by Chris Martin. He'll reverse field. Cornegay after him. And great coverage. Tony White brings Livingston down inside the 10. A return of 7 yards. Not the field position you would have expected after conceding the safety.
Well, both legendary quarterbacks now have to start from the shadow of their own goalpost. Damon Allen, we talked about his great start to the season. Look at the pace for Damon Allen, his first 5,000-yard year. If he can stay healthy and stay in the lineup, 65.9% of his passes have been complete. And that's a great touchdown to interception ratio if he can maintain it. And it's two legends really going at it here in this game. I mentioned to you earlier, between Danny McManus and Damon Allen, they have thrown for 118,823 yards, 108.6 kilometers. So if one started throwing from Toronto, they throw it all the way here to Hamilton on the QEW, and then the other one could pick it up and go almost all the way back.
Yeah, they turn around and bring it back.
But they're playing against some fired-up defenses on Labor Day right now, and both know one thing: they've got to be patient. But when you look at these two quarterbacks, just amazing what they have accomplished in their careers. 338 games for Damon Allen, one all-time passing yards. And if he keeps his current pace, he will be just over 1,000 yards away from Warren Moon in all of football, who has 70,553 in 2 leagues.
First and 10 Argonauts.
Greg Marshall yesterday told us that he thinks Damon Allen is having one of the all-time best seasons for a CFL quarterback. And he looks sidelines, and Michael Palmer, incomplete, flag down.
Yeah, when we talked about Greg Marshall, I loved his quote on that, Chris, and we talked about their record at 6-3 and how Damon Allen playing so well. And I love Marshall's quote. He said, Damon Allen is the difference. I mean, they have a good defense, they have a good receiving core, but he said Damon Allen has been the difference with the composure and the way he is executing the game plan this year and staying within the system.
Toronto 77.
Playing his best football.
Decline, 2nd down.
And remember, his first year in the Canadian Football League was 1985. That was the year Microsoft invented Windows. That's how long ago that was.
Michael Palmer was offside, penalty declined, and so a 2nd and 10 from inside the Argo 10. Allen from the shadows finds Baker, who bounces off the first contact of Jason Goss, but he's brought down short of the first down. And so this Ticat defense remains fired up.
Got a chance to talk to Robert Baker yesterday at the press conference for a little bit. Boy, he's a guy who would love to have a big game and is used to the big rivalry games back in his Alabama-Auburn days. The Iron Bowl, they call it.
And he was a Tiger. Now he's facing the Tiger Cats. But Auburn, Alabama is the big one on their schedules, just like this is in the CFL regular season between Toronto and Hamilton. So now Prefontaine from his end zone. And he's going to give up 2 with Donovan Carter in pursuit. And the final play of the first quarter produces the first points of the game for the Tiger Cats. So 15 minutes of defensive football. What do you expect in Hamilton? 3-2 Argos. Defense is stoked for Labor Day. Hamilton elects to scrimmage after the safety at their own 35-yard line. Short drop by McManus. And a ball tipped on the way, intended for DJ Flick, who took the opening catch a week ago for 72 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Chris, and what the great start that this receiving corps got in that Winnipeg game. DJ Flick and Craig Yeast both over 100 yards, 142 for DJ Flick and 4 catches. That's a pretty good average. And Craig Yeast, he's well over 100 as well, 136 and a touchdown. But they're playing a very different defense here against the Toronto Argonauts, a defense that won't give up the big play very often. You're going to have to be a lot more patient against Toronto than they were against Winnipeg.
2nd and 10, flag down, and McManus has a completion for a first down up to DJ Flick, who had 9 catches in the Eastern semifinal against Toronto. Well, let's wait to find out what the flag is. I believe it was Jonathan Brown jumping offside for Toronto. And it looks like it is against the Argonauts.
Toronto 97. Penalties decline. First down.
The big man out of Tennessee exchanging a shove with Dan Comiskey after the penalty.
Well, I was wondering when it would happen. I mean, if this game between these two teams on this day was a concert, it'd be a rock concert. This is where they drop the gloves and they go, and we haven't seen a lot of pushing and shoving until now.
Might be a punk show.
You're right.
Kahari Jones is coming in quarterback, and he runs the option. The toss to Davis. And Troy Davis across the 50 for 2 or 3.
Chris, this is why Kahari Jones comes in to run this play. And we'll check on Danny McManus, who is still working on a bit of a sore thumb on his passing hand. But watch the hit at 17 Kahari Jones is going to take right here. That's called zapping the quarterback from Jonathan Brown. On an option play at the end, his responsibility is to make the quarterback pitch it quickly. Then it just becomes a sweep for the defense.
And again, we saw Kahari Jones in a regular role last week at certain times of the game, running the option, scoring once against his old team, the Bombers. There's a pass for Yeast after an enormous hit at the line of scrimmage that had everybody in an uproar, and Jonathan Brown was on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, and I think Troy Davis was the guy who slid over to pick up Jonathan Brown coming off the edge, and what a block. The entire crowd just gave you the ooh-ah on this baby. There's Troy Davis right here. He's going to slide backside and pick up the pressure. Watch this block, my goodness. Troy Davis up underneath the chin of Jonathan Brown, and that's a physical mismatch at 6'4", 261 pounds versus 5'7", 178.
What a punishing hit. I think everybody in the park was watching that and not the Yeast catch that came up a few yards short of a first down. There is a flag as Borum kicks it away and sends it out near the 20-yard line of Toronto. So we'll check the flag, a 35-yard punt.
Flag on the field.
And procedure, the preliminary indication against Hamilton. Well, that's why so many people admire Troy Davis, not just his ability to carry the mail, but he has always been known as a punishing blocker.
Hamilton, number 2, illegal formation, played as a tackle, was not up on the line of scrimmage, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
They'll make Hamilton punt it again, but while they line up. Let's show you that block one more time from Troy Davis at 5'7", 178. Going to get Jonathan Brown on the backside, and you're absolutely right, Chris. It's more than just carrying the football for the tailback. He's got to protect the passer, and he stepped into that one right under the chin of Jonathan Brown.
9 inches shorter, 80 pounds lighter, and we may not see a heavier hit today.
Sometimes it's not the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog.
Livingston awaits. Again, he has to fight the sun. Short kick, Livingston on the run. Let it go by. Did it go off Livingston? Kojo Adu has picked up the football. Ticats will rule that it went off an Argo, but were they within the 5-yard receiving area? There is a flag on the play.
And did Livingston touch the football?
And Livingston heated up. He might not like what he's hearing from the officials.
Well, if he touched it and there was someone inside the 5-yard rule, the penalty goes against Hamilton. Toronto keeps the ball. That's what Richard Livingston is trying to argue.
And these officials taking a long time to discuss it. Did it go off Sean Millington right there?
It looked like it may have gone off his right knee,
but again, was Adu within 5 yards of Millington?
That's right, because now Kojo Adu, number 25, if Millington does touch it, it looked like he did. It looked like Kojo Adu was within the 5-yard area.
The McMaster product of Heck Creighton Award winner as the top player in university football when he played for Greg Marshall at McMaster. And Sean Millington in his second game with the Argonauts, basically on special teams, although they have worked some offensive plays into the playbook for Millington.
This is interesting. Sean Millington was blocking his man. He never saw the football, so he cannot be blamed for it hitting him. And this is a long discussion.
And they are now signaling no yards, and that's the right call.
It is the right call, and it's good that they huddled up the officials to make sure that they got it right, because it would have been a major turnover if no one saw Kojo Adu inside the 5-yard zone. Now he's trying to get out, but there the ball bounces. And I don't even know if it was just Kojo Adu. It looked like Tony White might have been inside that 5-yard zone as well. So 2 Hamilton Tiger Cats inside the 5-yard area.
5-yard penalty.
The crowd hates it. Greg Marshall hates it, but I think it's the right call.
Whether it was the right call or not, you knew it wouldn't be popular here.
No. Get that right.
5-yard penalty. They'll mark it at the Toronto 34. 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Allen, short roll, nearly picked off as Wayne Shaw read the play nicely. The former Argo back at his familiar safety spot in the Ticats secondary.
Yeah, they've had to do some juggling in that secondary. This Hamilton Tiger Cat defense over the last 3 games have given up a ton of yardage, so they've shuffled some things around. Alfonso Roundtree goes in. Wayne Shaw was on the corner, goes back to the safety position. 2 former teammates.
Second and 10. Ticats have given up the most points this year, but they have been stubborn in this first half. Allen pumped and then delivers. This is picked off, and that is Wayne Shaw across midfield and into the Argo territory at the 51-yard line. Shaw with his first pick of the year.
Wayne Shaw with the interception. Damon Allen made a mistake before he even took the football. And then it looked like he lost his receiver, his intended target, in the sun on that interception.
So the Ticats at the 51. Here's Troy Davis. And he'll be pushed back, forward progress, the 47.
He's in Labor Day in hostile territory and walked up in that shotgun, Damon Allen, and went like this. He looked, he couldn't hear anything, so he tried to quiet the crowd with his arms. That got the crowd going, and then I think the sun setting off the edge of the stadium, he lost his intended target, overthrew him, and then Wayne Shaw said, well, you know, overthrow your target, I'm going the other way.
Just the 8th interception tossed by Allen this year. Second best in the league. Dave Dickinson of BC, the stingiest in that department. 2nd and 6, quick hitter. Morreale's got it. Mike Morreale down to the 15-yard line.
This is a very difficult catch for Mike Morreale. I'll tell you why. One, he's got to get off the jam and get back open again down the field. Here's Mike Morreale right here. He's got to try and work through the jam at the line of scrimmage. Then once he gets past that jam, he's got to fight the sun. It's coming right off that edge of the stadium. He fights the sun, gets his hands up, and makes a tremendous catch down the seam.
8 catches last Labor Day for Morreale, who has lost just one of his last 9 Labor Days. 4 of those with Toronto. And now his 7th in Hamilton. McManus, nice move, and DJ Flick has a catch at the 8-yard line, working against Jordan Younger.
Toronto Argonauts off their turnover in the first quarter could not capitalize. They went 2 and out and had to settle for a field goal that went wide. Now, Hamilton Tiger Cats get their sudden change. Chance to see if they can capitalize on it at home with the crowd behind them.
Great first down production there as they get close to 9. All kinds of options on 2nd and 1, including the option play because Kahari Jones is checking in.
Now, every time Kahari Jones has checked into the ball game, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have run the football, but you can guarantee one thing. There are some passing plays in the playbook for Kahari Jones.
Radlin and Davis in the eye behind Jones, and it will be Radlin who has the first down close to the 5. The big fullback out of UBC. 6'2", 242. And just signed a new deal.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Julian Radlin with a new contract extension for another year and an option. I'd love to have Julian Radlin part of the process here in the rebuilding process for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The record really doesn't indicate what kind of football team this has been during the year. Lost some close games.
Basically the same team that won 9 games, tied another last season. First and goal from the 5. It's Davis with a flag down, stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
As quickly as the Argonaut defense was in the backfield, you wonder if maybe one of them were offside with the flags over there on the sideline, or were they drawn offside? But Troy Davis had no chance there. Denny Wheaton came on a stunt from the secondary, and it looked like he was in the backfield.
Offside. Toronto 95. Half the distance to goal. First down repeated.
Veteran Eric England, who Greg Marshall told us yesterday, said we wanted England in our lineup. He was a free agent in the offseason, but England opted to re-sign in Toronto. First and goal, and it's Radlin pounding it in. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. First major of the Labor Day Classic and the first lead for the Ticats. So the Tiger Cats make the Argos pay for the Damon Allen interception. Now Borum adds the extra point. We're midway through the second quarter. That Ivor wins, and it's 9-3 Hamilton. John Avery already, that's his second best rushing game of the year. And it's early. 2nd and 2 after an Avery 8-yard run. And Millington's first carry as an Argo. The Diesel to the 25, and that will be close to the first down.
Bit of a tough debut for Sean Millington coming out of retirement from the broadcast booth, and in his first game against the Calgary Stampeders, had some injury problems, had some hamstring problems, some cramping, and it's a little bit difficult for him in game one to get back to game speed, and he really only had one practice, but he told us yesterday he would be involved in the offense a little bit here this evening.
It was a tough enough debut that you abandoned any thoughts of coming out of retirement.
You're absolutely right. When he started talking about it, I said, you know, maybe. And then I saw that first game, and I went,
log on to primus.ca today.
Well, he does get the first down.
if you're going to make that step and come out of retirement, you don't want to be one of those guys that you're not as good as you once were, but as good once as you ever were. You want to be able to sustain something from start to finish in a game.
Boy, his statistics, career-wise, impressive. Close to 6,000 yards rushing, over 3,000 yards receiving. Twice the top Canadian in the CFL. A flag down as Allen throws, and that one knocked down. Good break on the football by the young corner, Todd Cornegay. Had a tough week against Chris Brazel in a size mismatch, but bouncing back here.
Well, this entire defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats is bouncing back in a big way from their last 3 games. They have given up a ton of yardage. And relatively young in the secondary and have had to have...
Offside. Hamilton 99. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
They've had to buy some time to try and get it together back there, but they're playing their best football right now. Tavis Reed, the defensive coordinator, has been patient with the secondary, but was real happy to see Alfonso Roundtree available. But look in their last 3 games, putting up over 40 points and close to 500 yards.
They've allowed 400 yards passing in the last 5, a season-high 533 last week. But only 96 today. Avery, look at that move. Oh, we're seeing John Avery at his best, but he put the ball on the ground, and I believe Hamilton's got it. Tim Cheatwood at the bottom of the pile.
With the tackle.
Right now, this defensive line is leading by example for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We've seen some plays out of the secondary, but the defensive line with their hustle. Adriano Belli is the first man in the backfield. He makes John Avery start to bounce around, and the hustle coming from the backside, and Cheatwood gets the football out of there.
Now, are they ruling that Avery was down? Cheatwood has the football.
The umpire was down. It was tough for him to see.
Avery, 3 lost fumbles already this season. It was
Ruling on the
close.
field is the ball carrier was down by contact.
There you go.
First down, Toronto.
And the fans hate that one as well. We'll take one more look at it, nice and slow for you. It was that close. Avery has control now. He has control now. Ball's out. That's too close to even call it off a replay. And officials huddled up once more. Looks like he loses control right there just as the left knee is touching.
Capacity crowd at Ivor Wynn, exhorting the defense. Allen lost his footing. He's down at the 18-yard line. Devontae Peterson and Adriano Belli.
Yeah. Right now, Adriano Belli, Chris, is having his best football game. Adriano Belli is dominating the line of scrimmage, and he has been the problem for Damon Allen because he's pushing the pocket right back into his lap. Adriano Belli, right up, you can tell by the arms which one's Adriano Belli. He's just going to get the good push. There he goes. Right around now. He is right there in the face of Damon Allen. He's been there all game long so far.
Product of Central Tech in Toronto. Belly's been revved up, as he usually is. Maybe an extra gear this afternoon, and flagged down as that play was halted by Andre Proulx.
Well, with Devontae Peterson and Adriano Belli, the 2 interior defensive linemen on that last play, they saved the touchdown because John Avery was wide open. Damon Allen didn't have time to throw him the
5-yard
football.
penalty, still second down.
And now a time count violation pushes it 5 yards further back. But you mentioned Peterson and Belly. You've got James Cotton, Tim Cheatwood returns on the outside. And suddenly, the Ticats have that feared front four that the history of the franchise demands. Second and 22. There's Arlen Bruce. Touchdown. And a breakdown in the secondary for the first time on the night. And Allen exploits it.
And I'm not sure, Chris, if it wasn't a combination between the secondary and the linebacking core, because the linebacking core were trying to show blitz, come up and get right up in there, Renard Cox, and they got too close to the line of scrimmage, and then there was too much of separation between the defensive backfield and zone and the linebacking core underneath. And Arlen Bruce took advantage of that mistake.
Well, surprisingly, Bruce was held without a catch in the Argos' last game against the Calgary Stampeders, but has his 5th touchdown reception of the season. And Prefontaine adds the extra point. Argos move back on top in Hamilton. The 40-year-old veteran heating up here in this second quarter. And Greg Marshall says there's still nobody with the release or the arm strength in the Canadian Football League like the Florida State product.
Well, and when you can consider that he is doing that with that bad thumb, it's quite remarkable.
20-yard reception from Morreale. Sends the ball into Argo territory at the 53. Davis cuts back. Mike Fletcher hanging on, and Kenny Wheaton cleans up at the 47. It's a gain of 6, but you're right, there's a soft cast there. He tore all the ligaments in the thumb in Edmonton just over a month ago, and without that support, he can't throw the football.
Basically, that cast and partial cast is there so that his thumb won't bend backwards. With the ligaments gone, he can't completely grip the football unless he has that support behind his thumb. And then you have to deal with the pain as well. So when you consider it's a pretty important part of the body if you're a quarterback, your passing hand.
And even 2 or 3 weeks ago, he couldn't take a snap from center, just the shotgun snaps. Second and short, out in the flat, and Mike Morreale has his 4th catch of the game. He has never had a 100-yard receiving game against the Argos. Well, he's over halfway there tonight.
But Mike Morreale will be a primary target against a defense that makes you be patient down the field. This is going to be a possession type of game for Danny McManus. It won't be like the Winnipeg game where you got DJ Flick and Craig East to just run go routes. He's going to have to be patient, throw curls, throw outs, and that's where Morreale is at his best.
Again, just his second start as he played behind Chris Brazel until the deal with Winnipeg. First down, quick hitter, Flick. Can't break the tackle of Jordan Younger.
And it's been a complete change of philosophy for Danny McManus in this offense. We talked about last week versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, got things going early. DJ Flick, how about play one? You talked, Chris, about what he had in the first half. He had 220 yards passing in the first quarter.
Then he found Craig East. And this one, he struck for 75 yards. And at the end of the night, it was 440 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and Offensive Player of the Week honors. Second down, 6, Flick screen, and DJ Flick on the hitch screen has another Hamilton first down with 89 seconds remaining in the first half.
Great recognition from both Danny McManus on one side and DJ Flick on the opposite side, because they read blitz coming. This is DJ Flick now. He's going to make sure he's onside. That's why he's looking at the official. Then he'll get his head back, and he'll recognize that the Toronto Argonauts are coming with blitz. So he's going to come back quick, provide a target, and then get up there and get the first down. Danny McManus saw the same thing and got the ball out of his hand in a hurry.
Flick's 4th catch, over 600 yards on the season. And now Craig East into the act. East double team, Fletcher a hit. And they work him out of bounds. Younger And Fletcher, as they chip away against this Argo defense, and you can't get greedy.
No, you can't, because that's when the Argo defense will shut you down. All of a sudden, if you do get greedy, you find yourself in a bunch of 2-and-outs. The Argo defense, we've talked about all year, will give up yards, and they'll let you move the football in between the 20s. And this is right about when the Argo defense starts to tighten up the screws just a little bit.
So it's 2nd and 6. McManus has completed his last 10. And making 11, and DJ Flick has a first down at the Argo 14.
Boy, DJ Flick had to earn this one. We talked about the Argo defense tightening down. It's pretty tight coverage. Going to come from the right of your screen. Quick slant. Timing throw from Danny McManus, gets it out of there in a hurry. And look at the coverage right there by Jordan Younger, who is in perfect position, just misses the ball by inches. Good concentration from DJ Flick to hang on.
Well, this was the way the offense was just starting to operate when McManus hurt the thumb in Edmonton and created the setback that continued the 8-game losing streak. Oh, shovel and look out. Noah Cantor was all over Troy Davis, smothering that play.
Toronto Argonauts right about now, and you saw Noah Cantor with a big play there. Right about now is when they tighten up. You can see completion percentage, and they're not very good at that. They're their last. Interceptions, they've dropped. Sacks, they've dropped from a year ago. Rushing yards against, right at the bottom. So they'll give up yards. They haven't made big plays. Then they get in the points area, they shut the door. Noah Cantor started, and we'll see if Danny McManus can buck the trend that Rich Stubler's defense has established.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. 3 receivers short side. Looking at the end zone. Flick wide open. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. Fourth touchdown of the year for DJ Flick.
Danny McManus has time to look to his left, come back across the formation and go all the way backside, and he caught Jordan Younger sleeping. DJ Flick in behind coverage.
Borum to add the extra point, puts it through as the Tiger Cats increase their lead. 69% last week. He's 75%. Danny McManus so far tonight. Jeff Johnson playing in his 100th CFL game. Takes the short kickoff. Johnson, who spent some time here in Hamilton, a product of York University. And a backup running back, a dozen seconds remaining. Damon Allen has been stifled. His last completion was a touchdown.
Well, he just hasn't been back on the field since then because of the great hot hand from Danny McManus. And doesn't have a whole lot of time, although 2 quick throws, if he can sneak them in, may get Noel Prefontaine into field goal range.
Adriano Belli's been in kissing distance of Damon Allen throughout this first half. Ticats with a 3-man defensive front. And Allen outlets Avery. First man misses. John Avery makes another miss, and he'll get it into field goal range. A second left on the clock, and they will afford Prefontaine the opportunity to kick a 47-yarder.
And that is why Damon Allen is playing his best football right now. That's a great example of it, because Damon Allen didn't force it. He knew he had maybe 1, maybe 2 if he got it out of there quick, but he also knew if I just dump it to John Avery, he makes a couple guys miss, we're still in field goal range.
Wind not an issue. Prefontaine has hit from 50 this year. Puts the foot into that one. Distance not a problem. Neither is the direction. And Pinball Clements will head off. Down by 3. Jamie Borum does kick off. We heard Craig Marshall talk about rolling his ankle. Here's Livingston, who had an 84-yard kick return, wiped out by a penalty in the first half. Good return up to the 45, a 35-yard return for the always dangerous Bashar Livingston.
Well, because it's Labor Day and because both defenses are playing so hard, it didn't really matter what Ken Austin called in that first quarter anyway, but he did make adjustments in the first half. That's where that touchdown pass came in the second quarter.
I thought it interesting yesterday. Mike Clements always is asked about Damon Allen's play, and yesterday he reinforced that he's the product of a great system, and obviously it's been designed by Ken Austin. Here's Andre Talbot, first catch. He was ejected from last year's game in the first half. Talbot, his first ever CFL touchdown against the rival Tiger Cats.
That's been the Andre Talbot play, too. He goes about 3-4 yards down the field and then just throws the brakes on, and he allows the defense to flow to the other talented receivers in the receiving corps, and he's often the open man over there by the sideline on the wide side of the field.
So Talbot gets 3. 2nd and 7 from the 46. Here comes the rush outside again. There's Talbot. Nice move inside, and he'll get the first down at midfield. And things heat up.
Tough position for Jason Goss to be in from the halfback position. He's inside. This is Andre Talbot out here, and Jason Goss is going to just try and get to that flat outside area. See how he opens up number 21? Then he's going to overrun it a little bit. And Andre Talbot uses Goss's momentum and cuts back underneath him. A zone defense from Jason Goss.
Catch number 30 on the season for the product of Oshawa, Andre Talbot. First down, midfield. Argos 5 receiver set. And there's Robert Baker. Flag thrown as Baker crashes down to the Ticat 40. And another flag, and things are heating up. And is that Tim Cheatwood that drew the second penalty? And you wonder if he got both.
Well, he certainly got the second one. And Rob Hitchcock, the veteran back there, grabbed Cheatwood right away. And it looked like it was something that Cheatwood said on the second penalty.
After the last Talbot catch, there was a little pushing and shoving between a few.
Pass interference. Toronto 88. Unnecessary roughness. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton 45. We're going to go up 5 and first down.
So wipe out the Baker catch. But it's a 5-yard net gain on the penalty, and it was 49, Tim Cheatwood.
Tiger Cats do not have a 45 listed. So, yeah, 49, Cheatwood got the second penalty. And a little push-off from Robert Baker was the first one. And he was working on Chris Martin, who's converted and moved down from the secondary into the linebacking corps.
He wasn't ejected last year, but he started the Donnybrook that had 3 players ejected with a late hit on Michael Bishop, and everything got out of hand after that. R.J. Soward, Andre Talbot, Wayne Shaw were ejected from that game, and later Adriano Belli. Long discussion of where this ball will be marked.
Very happy birthday to Karen Simba.
Interference. Toronto 88 and a major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton 49. Their balance from point last scrimmage, up 5 yard, automatic first down.
They just had to get the yardage straight. Basically, that was the same call that he just made a second ago. The penalties did not change, but what they had done is given the Argos 5 yards in penalty yards on the net and the change. Really what it is a first down, 1st and 10 Toronto Argonauts when you put the 2 penalties together. So they just had to get the yardage correct and the yardsticks correct.
Boat puts the ball at the Ticat 50. First down, 4 receivers out to the near side, over the middle, incomplete, and climbing the back of Robert Baker was Chris Martin. who has been moved up to the linebacker spot primarily to deal with Baker tonight.
Yeah, that's the matchup. I mean, Chris Martin is a halfback. He's a defensive back. He moves up just because of the formations that the Argos will play with and the fact that they put Robert Baker right in there. And you can see Chris Martin is basically the shadow of Robert Baker. He looked like a good sports coat on Baker there. What a 44 regular, I think.
That was airtight coverage. 2nd and 10. Out of the gun, Allen sets up, looks downfield. Tony Miles wide open. First catch from Miles, and he's dropped at the 29.
Well, Damon Allen has now figured out one of the adjustments for Damon Allen this second half has been to look for number 78, Adriano Belli, and he's now stepping away from the belly pressure. Adriano Belli, again, has been fighting the double team most of the game. This time he does it again. He goes to the wide side, and Damon Allen is just moving away slightly, sliding that pocket either left or right to get away from the pressure of Adriano Belli. One small adjustment, and the reason that ball was completed across the middle to Tony Miles.
22 to Miles, first down at the 29. Quick hitter back to Miles, and Arabin Justin all over him.
You know, when the game slows down for the quarterback, they can make those adjustments, and while they're always 90% of the time looking down the field, if they're at a certain level of performance like Damon Allen is now, he can look for Adriano Belli, who gets his 4th sack tonight in this game, and make subtle adjustments in the pocket to avoid his pressure.
Seeing that he's outgoing is really not doing it justice.
It's not.
Second and 3 after the 7-yard catch by Miles, and Allen pumped, and he's downed with a penalty marker in the secondary. Damon Allen dropped close to the line of scrimmage. And more flags fly as things heat up.
Belly with that tackle.
Well, Belly's starting to get things going on that defense and offensive line right there in the trenches. And it's got to be starting to become a little frustrating for Chad Folk and Mike Mihalik, who've been often responsible for the double team up front, because when you're double teaming, you should dominate. And they really haven't been able to do that. And that's, you know, and Chad Folk, a 9-year veteran there. He's got to be a little frustrated, so we'll see if this develops into anything as this game goes on.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Hamilton 41, major foul, unnecessary roughness. Toronto 66, major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton 21 will go up 10 yards, first down.
So Goss and Jude St. John handed unnecessary roughness penalties.
Did you write them all down? I couldn't keep track, but
well, it's tough because Hamilton, I don't believe, has a 41.
Well, they have a
Didn't think so.
42 and Rob Hitchcock.
But the net yardage moves it closer to the Hamilton goal line. Greg Marshall was reminiscing uncomfortably yesterday about the Eastern semifinal. He said Noel Prefontaine beat us and 23 penalties beat us. We've got to show more composure in this game. And he talked about the bind of the disqualifications from last year's Labor Day. Damon Allen looked once, now goes to the other side. There's Miles again. A key figure on this drive to the 6. And 8 more for Tony Miles.
And that's a good catch by Miles, but I want to go right back into that trench warfare for just 1 second. Adriano Belli, this time he's going to get matched up on Jude St. John as he comes across. And watch how Jude St. John, he does a nice job at the point. Now Belli starts to get the advantage, and watch St. John right here. Bam, a little two-hander right in the middle of the back on Adriano Belli. And you know that one's registered in the back of his mind as he fires up his teammates.
2nd and 2, 2.5. Jude St. John, a former Tie-Cat. The big left guard, out of the shotgun. Allen hit, delivers, and The ball is ruled incomplete. Robert Baker, the intended receiver. Damon Allen slow to get up. And flags on either side of the line of scrimmage.
Adriano Belli draws the double team, and when he does right here, Jude St. John comes down. You're going to see Roger Dunbrook come free on Damon Allen. I can't believe he even got this football out of there. That's when you draw the double team, someone's going to free up. That time it was Roger Dunbrook, and somehow Damon Allen got that football out of there.
The goal line, first down.
But the Tiger Cats ruled offside. And it's a first down at the 2.5. Robert Baker doesn't drop that ball very often. Augie Berenicia offside on the play. So now the Ticat defense has to dig deeper. Allen looks into the end zone. Incomplete. Tried to hook up with Tony Miles for the 4th time on the drive, and Arabin Justin was shadowing him.
Well, Arabin Justin does a nice job there of dropping his man off to Alfonso Roundtree and then jumping Alfonso Roundtree's man down the field and Tony Miles, and then getting his arm around just in time to disrupt the throw.
Justin got the hook last week for a short time, then was sent back into the game and came up with an interception in the dying seconds to clinch it against the Bombers. 2nd and goal. Sean Millington, the Diesel, stopped short. Big hit there, James Cotton, preventing Millington from scoring what would have been his first Argo touchdown.
Oh, baby, that's not easy. That is not easy. That's Sean Millington. And they didn't call him the Diesel for nothing at 6'3", 240. And he had a good body lean, too. He had that good forward body lean. But James Cotton gets off his man, which was John Avery, and from his knees pulls down the Diesel.
Berenicia helped out. 3rd and goal from the 2. And the Argos going for it. John Avery awaiting a signal. The Argos say they're in, and they are. Touchdown, Toronto.
Well, I give full credit to John Avery because it looked like the timing was off, but he still had the leg strength to get up over the pile. From the running back position, you want to hit this baby on the fly, so as you're receiving the football, you're getting up and over the top. And it looked like he did cross that plane, although they had to sort out the bodies before they could make sure that that ball was across the plane.
Terrific drive to open the second half. 9 plays. 6 minutes, 34 seconds off the clock, and John Avery punches it in for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season.
I got it on now.
Prefontaine, the extra point, and the Argos have a 4-point lead. 2nd and 6. Extra receiver in. Davis out. Hugh Smith out of the backfield. Incomplete with a flag down.
Incomplete. Flag in the field.
We heard
Intended for Hugh Smith.
Greg Marshall yesterday. He ran some plays with Smith out of the backfield, and his defense couldn't handle Hugh Smith.
Well, they say when they're playing against Winnipeg, Hugh Smith for the scout team becomes Charles Roberts. We all know how quick he is, and they try and...
Toronto 95, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Eric England offside.
And they, yeah, you were mentioning that Hugh Smith was turning their own defense around a little bit, but he's yet to really establish himself. Now he's seeing limited playing time, and that may increase if he can start to make some big plays. But it starts on special teams. If he can have a game where he can start to get some returns on the special teams, that might open the eyes and get him a few more reps on offense.
Ticats accepted the penalty, so it's 2nd and 1. Medlin has a lot more than that, and he nearly busted it all the way down to the 30, and fired up.
Well, we talked about these two running backs, and of course, a lot of talk this week about Jesse Lumsden and whether or not he would be ready for Labor Day or sign with the Ticats for Labor Day. Of course, the property of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Julian Radlin signed a new contract, and it's a year and another extension. Jesse Lumsden's not going to beat out Julian Radlin. In fact, Jesse Lumsden is not a fullback. And so, I wonder when Jesse Lumsden will get in this lineup.
Unlikely he'd be ready even next week. Here's another catch by Moriali. And that is the 15th straight completion. And we're getting into
Don't
record.
say it.
No.
Okay. Don't say it.
Getting up there, though.
Okay. We'll keep watching Danny McManus and see if he can continue to throw these darts.
Rick Campanelli coming up with our Gibson.
I've already said too much.
Yeah, you may have jinxed it.
Second and 7.
Great tackle.
And McManus in the flat. He's got a receiver. Dondra Gilliam with his first catch. Oh, that was a long throw in a rope.
Really was, and you got to give Danny McManus a ton of credit for it with that bad thumb to get that football all the way out there. That is a long throw from the hash mark, just inside the hash mark on the left side of the field. He goes all the way backside, and it is a perfect spiral to Dondra Gilliam, who took advantage of the fact that Kamal Peterson had taken Adrian Smith with him deep.
19 yards, that completion. First and goal from the 7. Davis the lone setback. Over the middle. Morielli to the goal line and pushed back there. Potter prevented the touchdown. But Mike Morielli has the Tiger Cats knocking on the door again.
And there's two things that have happened for the offense of the Hamilton Tiger Cats over the last 2 weeks. One is Danny McManus is in a comfort zone. He's starting to look off receivers and look off defensive backs, look to backside receivers. Mike Morielli right here in the middle of your screen. He recognizes the same defense as Danny McManus. The other thing that's different for Hamilton is McManus is getting time to throw.
Argos did well to keep Big Morielli out. Now Kahari Jones back in. Jones sneaking. And it looks like he's in. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. One second half touchdown answered by another.
Kahari Jones finishes the drive, but it's the scorching hot hand of Danny McManus that gets him down there. You sprinkle in some balance with the running game from Julian Radlin and Troy Davis. You got a pretty nice drive.
For him to make it a 3-point lead. And he does. So 2 possessions second half, 2 touchdowns. They played to a 30-all stalemate a year ago on Labor Day. And right now, 3 points separating the arch rivals. John Avery drilled back as he reached the 45. 3 more for Avery, who had 100-yard games the last 2 times he has faced the Tiger Cats.
Well, because of his success in this game so far, Damon Allen is faced with a situation he hasn't been faced with much tonight, and that's second and long. See what the Hamilton defense comes with. This is often the area where you come with blitz if you're in the defensive side of the ball.
So 2nd and 7. Underneath, Arlen Bruce, brought down by Goss, but it's a first down at the 54.
Great read by Damon Allen to go across the middle. He had Robert Baker going down the seam and went to Bruce over top because Baker was double teamed. You see Rob Hitchcock right here. He's going to go and wall out Robert Baker as Baker runs down the seam here. Once he sees that double team, he goes to the outside, double team in the front of your screen, and there's Arland Bruce coming across the middle in the one-on-one.
We're in the final minute of the third quarter. First down near midfield, and the pitch to Avery. And Avery with a nice stutter step and down at the 46. 9 for Avery, and there's that great second and short situation he keeps providing. Because it's Labor Day, it's not just the player of the game we're considering, because it's a special Labor Day gladiator. You have to have a gladiator on Labor Day.
Absolutely. Some leading candidates already down in those trenches. It's been quite a war in the trenches.
I think there is a leading candidate. And at the risk of a giveaway here, it's his to lose.
Well, it is his to lose right now, because if you can play without a helmet, you can be a gladiator.
Second and short. Does Allen use a free play? No, he'll just plunge ahead behind Mike Mihalik, the former Tiger Cat, at right guard, and move the chains. 4 times Damon Allen has passed for 300 yards this season. All 4 times the Argos have won. Not likely he will throw for 300 today.
Mentioned those 300-yard games. That's 44% of the season for Damon Allen. You know, since 1995 is when they started tracking that. And his 300 games was only at 22% in 169 games. That's showing you what kind of season he's having this year.
They're saying he's been twice as good.
Twice as good.
First down, flag on the play. Bruce with the catch at the 40. Gain of 4 yards, pending the marker.
And you know, yardage in a game doesn't always indicate, doesn't always tell the story, I should say. But for Damon Allen, it's always been a mixture of run and pass. Damon Allen has won games with 180 yards and run for 60, 70 yards and a touchdown. And that's how he's had his success. That's how he's been Grey Cup MVPs.
Offside. Hamilton 78, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Adriano too quick that time.
But this year for Damon Allen, this has been the difference. And when you talk about that passing system, that's why he's putting these 300-yard games together, which is, when you look at the percentages, since 1995, which were trips through Memphis, the BC Lions, and now Toronto. 22% of his games with 300-yarders, 44 this year.
Has a 1st and 5 and a 5-receiver package, but hands it off to Avery. And we're seeing the John Avery that won the rushing title in 2002.
Yeah, you are. And he's taking advantage of defense that is flying around.
A first down, and that's the end of the third quarter. A 3-point Tiger Cat lead. Tiger Cats by 3, but the Argos engineering another impressive march. Allen looking for Michael Palmer, who has a catch at the 20. And a Toronto first down.
First down, Argonauts. Swiss LA, Queenston Road.
A high-stakes game going on right now with 2 savvy vets. A couple of quarterbacks with poker faces, Allen and McManus. And Damon Allen looks to the end zone. Robert Baker can't catch up to it. Had a step, and Allen would like to have that back.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and that's just a throw that is just off the mark because Robert Baker did his thing. He got the one-on-one he wanted, he got the formation he wanted, and he got that Chris Martin matchup. And this time he got him on the corner, and Damon Allen looked like he may have rushed the throw a little bit and maybe had to throw it over the defensive line one more time. And that little extra air bailed Chris Martin out.
You can hear the fans now urging the black and gold defense. 2nd and 10. From the Hamilton 20. Allen pumped and wants more. Baker's in the end zone, and it's overthrown. Robert Baker was tucked in behind everybody, But he couldn't catch up with that.
He couldn't because it was just too far of a throw for Damon Allen to throw on a rope. He was in behind coverage because the play just broke down and Robert Baker just found an open area. He starts out as the inside receiver on the wide side. Here's Robert Baker right here. And he's number 3 receiver from the boundary. Now he's just going to slip around. Now when this thing breaks down for Damon Allen, you can see Robert Baker. You realize he's got some room in behind. But that is such a long throw for Damon Allen. He has to put tons of air under it. And once again, a little air bails out the Tiger Cats.
Cornegay and Shaw recovering. And now from 27 yards out, Prefontaine to tie. And this game is locked up, 23 apiece. Early fourth quarter. Well, if you count preseason, and Argo fans do when it involves beating the Tiger Cats, it's 15 without a win for Hamilton against Toronto. 13-0-2, a tie last year on Labor Day, and a tie in Halifax to start our coverage this season. And right now, tied again, 23 apiece, clock running midway through the fourth quarter. And after a 5-yard no-yards penalty at the 21. Picked off, James Cotton, touchdown! It's not tied anymore.
What a read by James Cotton. Cotton is playing a pressure rush. Here he is right here. His job is to come at John Avery. If John Avery does not release, Cotton can stay where he is. Watch how this works to perfection for James Cotton. Avery stands in the block. Cotton goes with him and is right underneath that one. And that's a pretty good catch for the big man.
Well, they have Ohio State bookends at defensive end. Cheatwood with a pair of sacks, and his old college teammate, James Cotton, is up the ante
I know y'all watching. What's up, baby?
with an interception for a touchdown.
That was for you, baby.
Against one of the least likely to throw a pick at a critical time. The extra point added by Borum, and suddenly it's the Tabbies by a touchdown. Hugh Smith drops back. Prefontaine wants a big one here, and he gets it. And Smith back inside his 20. And Smith drops the football. And are the Argos on it? I think Michael Palmer has it. The Burlington native comes up with it as Hugh Smith puts it on the turf. So a turnover gave Greg Marshall's team the lead. And now a turnover gives the Argos a chance to get it back.
You know, every time you look at the roster, you got to have some role players, and Chris Hardy is the role player here. He comes down and is covering this kick, and there he is, number 8. He creates the problem for Hugh Smith. That ball comes out of there because Chris Hardy is doing his job on the special teams along with Ray Marius. They create the fumble. The Argos have the turnover and a chance to tie this baby up.
Chris Hardy, a former quarterback for the University of Manitoba. CIS football action started on the weekend. We won't mention a loss by Simon Fraser.
Thank you.
But go out and watch some great football at the CIS park near you. Here's Tony Miles, touchdown! Just like that, a fumble recovery and a touchdown pass from Allen to Miles.
For the Argonauts, touchdown.
You want to take full advantage offensively after a turnover and go right at the defense, and that's exactly what Damon Allen does. No hesitation. He is going right here as he moves Tony Miles inside, and Tony Miles is going to run a corner route and run it to perfection on the newcomer, Alfonso Roundtree. Look at that head fake as he gets Roundtree all turned around and in that end zone.
6th touchdown of the year for Tony Miles. That's a career high. And Prefontaine has tied it with a point after. just over 2 minutes to go. And McManus looks for Flick, overthrowing the intended receiver, and Jordan Younger was tracking him closely.
Now Danny McManus is faced with the toughest play of the game to this point, and that's second and long against the defense that lives off second and long.
Now remember, Borum has rolled an ankle. Right now it would be a 42 to 43 yard field goal. Clock stopped after the incompletion. And McManus has 5 receivers to the wide side. Underneath, Hugh Smith incomplete. Not sure if somebody tipped that. On its way to Smith.
Well, I think it was touched, but Hugh Smith will learn through experience that when you see the zone, you can see him shaking the head. He knows he made the mistake, because when you see the zone defense, you have to sit down and not run through it. That time, Hugh Smith ran through it. Now he has to dive. You see Michael Fletcher right there? Fletcher was coming downhill at Smith. That's why that play had no chance.
Since hitting 17 straight, Danny McManus just 2 of his last 7, and now Jamie Borum.
It'll be a 43-yarder.
43 yards to put Hamilton ahead. Livingston in the end zone. Had a big one late last year to get it into overtime. Brady the holder, and Jamie Borum nails it. He's been unflappable this year, and Hamilton leads by 3. Let's see what kind of field position Livingston can provide. Up over the 30, 35, and out at the 40-yard line, so they got 5 more than they would have had they opted for the 35. Allen has lots of time, looking for Tony Miles again, and Justin there to knock it away.
First of all, I want to go back one play and give credit to Greg Marshall for first kicking it to Bashar Livingston. That's confidence in his team, and now Arabin Justin plays that perfectly down the sideline on first down on Tony Miles. Confidence is you get that trickle-down effect. Let's kick it to their best returner, go down and cover it. That's what the Ticats just said, and Arabin Justin just responded.
It's an uproar here at Ivor Wynn, 2nd and 10. Allen guns it over the head of Michael Palmer, incomplete. A minute 36 on the clock. Is it time for a gamble, or will they punt the ball away?
You know, Chris, when you try and weigh whether or not this would be time to gamble, I think you have to gamble, not because of the time on the clock, but because where the Argos are on the football field. If they had another 20 yards, maybe you punt it for field position. But here they got to go.
3rd and 10. Here comes the rush. Allen delivers a first down catch to Robert Baker. Clutch near midfield. And the Argos are still alive with 91 seconds on the clock.
It is just an absolute pressure to watch 2 pros. We saw Danny McManus do his thing. Now we're watching Damon Allen poise and control in the pocket, deliver a strike on 3rd down with the game essentially on the line. What a throw.
This atmosphere any good? Ivor Wynn electric. Allen, open man, Palmer. Jarred out near first down.
Where they are now puts Noel Prefontaine basically in field goal range. His longest on the season is 50. This would be about 54, so he'd have to beat his longest. But Damon Allen has lots of time if he has first down yardage here for a lot more yardage to make it a chip shot for Prefontaine.
If I'm the Argos, I might prefer this to be short.
Once again, tonight's attendance.
Get an extra play.
29,600.
That's not the case. There's Michael O'Shea on the sidelines with some words of advice for Andre Prue.
Damon Allen is really caught right now, and the veteran will not make the mistake, I'm sure, but between becoming a little too conservative in this part of the field, knowing that he's got no Prefontaine, he still needs to be aggressive. 15 to 20 yards gives Prefontaine a realistic opportunity.
First down, Ticat 46. Here comes the rush. Allen in trouble. Down. Loose football. Still there. Mike Mihalik comes up with it, but it's all the way back at the Toronto 39.
Chris, it was the Hamilton defensive line that set the tone early in this game. And they did it by example. Tim Chewood on the stunt came all the way around, and he flushed Damon Allen up into the arms of Devontae Peterson.
Devontae Peterson with a big
And how about the intensity of that man?
A loss of 24. And that makes it a better chance, a win for the Tiger Cats.
I'll tell you one thing. You watch Greg Marshall on the sideline, and it won't be long before he's a gladiator of the game.
I was going to say, usually you say, put me in, coach, but in this case, you want to say, put in the coach. 63 seconds left. A lot of people on their feet at Ivor Wynn. 2nd and 34. Allen, Talbot, loose ball, incomplete. Talbot on the tip drill tried to reel it in, unsuccessfully. Third down.
Sorry, Chris. Jason Goss covered a lot of ground to get there. This is the play to Talbot. Try and sneak him down the sideline, and maybe he will be forgotten. But number 21, Jason Goss, comes a long way, and he distracts Andre Talbot just enough.
Greg Marshall one play away from not having to see that winning smile on Pinball Clemens' face in the post-game handshakes. Well, they scored on a 2nd and 22. They have to convert 3rd and 34. Allen slowed up by Cheatwood. Dunbrack after him, and that pass incomplete. With 48 seconds on the clock, the Argos have turned it over on downs.
And the throw to Arland Bruce would have been 12 yards short of first down territory anyway.
Coach's face.
Well, you could read that play and see what was going on without even watching Damon Allen, just watching the expression on Greg Marshall's face. Because when Damon Allen broke contain, you saw the concern, and then the relief when the ball was dropped.
Pigskin Pete likes it. Troy Davis. Through the arms of Ivan for a couple. Well, it took them 8 to win 1, and now they're on the verge of a 2-game win streak.
Now,
Long time to cheat drinks.
the Argos call a timeout. There is 42 seconds left. The timeout is called by Toronto. Danny McManus faces 3rd and 7. It is an uphill battle, and the Argonauts right now are bare feet in the snow trying to climb it. But it's 42 seconds in the CFL is possible. 2nd down and 8, Chris. They get a 2 and out here.
And then the decision is, do you punt for a single? Do you try the field goal?
Well, we'll see what happens on second down first. But if they are held short, you don't want your field goal cover team in because it's O-lineman.
Second and 8, Davis. Troy Davis to the 32-yard line. Comes up a couple of yards short. His extra effort nearly produced what would have been a game-ending first down. 36 on the clock. And you're right about the field goal. In fact, Mike Clemens said yesterday that the missed field goal is the highest percentage play to score on in the CFL.
Because offensive linemen are covering it. Mike Clemens stares down the bench at what Greg Marshall will decide to do here.
3rd and 2, it looks like they're going to go for it.
Greg Marshall believes if he goes for it and is held that's possible.
You wouldn't try and punt for a 4-point lead? Interesting decision. It's moot if Troy Davis gets the first down. And that pile is going to come up short. There is a flag on the play. Only 11 seconds left on the clock.
And Toronto,
This game's over. Offside, Toronto. And no need for any more tough decisions tonight. A lot of people across the league believe that Hamilton was not as bad as 0-8. In the last 2 weeks, they've proved it.
and it is a long way to go. But if you look at the last 2 games the Ticats have put together, the offensive effort versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the defensive effort, even though they gave up 30 points against the Argos, it was an outstanding defensive effort from the Ticats, and they're not out of it by any means.
Time for one more Tiger Cat play.
15 games without a win if you include 6 preseason games. And now the coach of the year with one of his sweetest wins. As the Tiger Cats break the huddle and acknowledge the crowd here. Danny McManus to put down one more knee. And it goes in the books. 33-30. The Tiger Cats have won 2 in a row. And there's the handshake Greg Marshall's been waiting for.
It certainly lived up to its billing. Labor Day, once again, a classic.